Perfect. So I think now it's then time to quickly move into or move back into our presentation. And then we're going to learn a bit more about our sales enablement templates. So again, just reminding everyone, if you do have any questions, feel free to use the chat. And if any of the kind of topics that we've gone through regarding the internal comms template or the event template, again, if any of those questions come up now, we're more than happy to answer them at the end if we have time. But let's move ahead with the sales enablement template. The purpose of this template is really to support your staff to grow revenue. It's all about showcasing your business. It's all about presenting case studies. And more than anything, it's about having easy access to all of these materials. So wherever you are, when you're with a client, you'll be able to kind of share this with them or at least find the relevant material with them. Even if you're not sharing it with them there at the moment, you'll still be able to tell them about it, maybe even make a note, and then as soon as you're back in the office, you'll know exactly where to get that information and how you can share it with them. So it's kind of meant as a way for you to support your kind of sales staff. Now, if we move into just looking at the main features, so you'll see here there's a whole lot of list of features. What we're going to do on the call in a second, I'm going to jump back into the studio and we're going to look through these features. I'm going to run you through specifically all of the features that are highlighted. So we're going to be looking at our services, our people, our locations, document library, company news, knowledge and tips, and then some of the admin options. But as you can see here, it also has a whole list of other features. So these are kind of just the main things that we'll be going through. Instead of looking at this for too long, I think it's better we just jump straight into the Flip Studio so I can show you. So I'm just going to switch my screen share again and quickly move into our preview mode. Perfect. So the app will open again with what we call our kind of onboarding screen. It's just a nice way to educate your users and let them know how they should be using the app. Once they've been swiping through this for the first time, and this screen, as well as the login screen, is something that the user will only see the first time that they're actually opening the app. Every subsequent visit, they will just straight away be directed to what is our kind of home screen. And so the home screen is kind of built up with a nice background image just to kind of make it a little bit more interesting. This is something that would be super easy for you guys to replace if you were using this. And then we've got our list of the different sections of the app that were included. Now, this kind of type of menu is just really good because it's really easy for users to find exactly what they're looking for. So if I'm with a client and I want to recommend to them another service, or maybe I want to recommend to them a specific person, then I know exactly where I'm going to go in the app. The way that this is working and the way that this works is that each business obviously has a very kind of unique and specific point of selling. So you might be offering various services, different kind of products. Maybe you are a big organization, so you have various offices in different locations. Now, in our template, as you'll see in a moment, what we've done is we've been using services, locations, and people as examples. Now, the whole kind of point of this template is really that you're going to take this and replace our examples with whatever makes sense for your company. So what this means, if you don't necessarily have lots of services, or let's say you actually only have one main head office and not lots of locations, but maybe you have lots of products instead, then what you could do is take out our locations here and replace this with our products, just to make sure that this is something that's actually relevant for your company. But now to look into this in more detail, if we click into our services, then what happens is we'll see a list of our different services. This kind of list works really well when we have only 3 items, like you see here. If you have a list of 20 services, then there's various kinds of lists that you can use just to make sure that you'll fit more items onto your screen. But then the idea is very much that the user will click into whatever service they're interested in, and then they'll see more details specifically around the service. Again, please keep in mind that the intention with this is really that you're going to take this and replace all of the sample materials that you see here with whatever materials make sense to you and your business. So what we've done is we've built up this template with a couple of examples that we think make sense. So what we have at the top is we got a nice banner image, we've got the name of the actual service, and then we have a few kind of quick actions. So this is a button for downloading or opening a PDF. So maybe I've got a main brochure that just explains everything, and I can just click this button, open the brochure, and then really quickly and easily forward that via email to anyone. So if I'm with a client, that would be really useful. Email, again, what this would do, it would open up a mail to email on your device, and you can start emailing maybe the key contact or anyone else that would be relevant in terms of the service. Sharing is just kind of sharing information. Web would be if you have a specific website for the service that you want to share or show someone. And Twitter, again, would be if you have a specific kind of Twitter feed for the service in general, then you could include that here so it's easy for you to share it. After we've got this kind of main section, we've got a bit of an overview, and then we've got our kind of main content in these kind of expandable areas. So we've got key contacts, we've got client and case studies. Again, if you click on the key contacts, what it will do, it will open up more information. So you'll have the name, you obviously got a headshot, you've got a title, location, and then you can email, call, or open their LinkedIn profiles directly from within the app. Again, making it super easy if somebody wants to get in touch specifically around the service. This would be how you can quickly refer them to the right person to talk to. Now, the key contacts and anything else here can quite easily be kind of substituted with whatever materials make sense to you. We've tried to highlight things that are quite general. So we've got key contacts, key clients, and case studies. What this actually does at the moment, so this, as you can see, has got the name of a business, it's got a logo, it's got kind of the various kind of sector that they work in. What this actually does at the moment, if you click on it, it would open up their website. But you could easily as well include a case study directly in here if you wanted to kind of have a more unique selling point of specifically how you've been working with these clients. Or maybe even have something on your website around this, so you could also link that through to your website if you wanted to. If we then expand the related materials section, the way that this works is, let's say I'm referring a client to this specific service and I want to share with them some documentations and materials that is relevant. If I click on this, that will open a PDF or a web link that I can then forward or share with anyone. And similarly with related news, this would be any news that's related specifically to the service that I wanted to share or maybe show anyone. And again, this can, if I wanted to open up a link on the web, so any web link that you might have or anything maybe that you have on your website. And that's generally how the kind of detailed services works. When it kind of actually gets to building this out, the intention is that you set up one of these as an initial first screen, and then you can use it to basically have it as your template, build one of these screens up for each of your services. You have a really, really detailed screen for all of your services, and that way you get a lot of kind of information into the app. If we move ahead to look at the locations, the idea is very much that this will work in the same way. So we've built up here 3 example locations. If I click into Australia, it will take us to what we call kind of the detailed screen. And this, as you will recognize from the screen we've just been looking at, has very similar but some different information, just because locations just makes sense to include different information. But you still got a banner image, got the title. Again, we've got the same kind of brochure, contact, share, website, and Twitter. But you also have maybe some key facts. So, number of offices in Australia is 5. The number of people working in this office is 150. Again, it's just really key information that you can have at just a couple of taps on your device, which is really useful. In the drop-down sections, we again have key contacts, which is still very relevant for the country. As you can see here as well, only those key contacts that actually have Australia in their profiles will be visible here. And similarly, we've got a few different kinds of information in the other drop-down areas, but we've got practice areas, so just letting people know what kind of work that they're doing in the Australia offices. And we also got related news. Now, the way that this works again is that only information kind of relevant for Australia on the screen. The way that you would build up all of your various locations is that you'd first build up the screen as your template and then make copies of it and just replace whatever information is relevant for your other locations. So that is kind of the main features and the main sections of the app. And then we've got lots of other things that are kind of here to support you. So we've got, for example, a document library. Now, what this could do is just allow you to include lots of different PDFs and also make them searchable. So the way you can do it is you can make some of them featured, which is just like a little tag. So you can kind of have them at the top, and then you can have a lot of other PDFs here. The really good thing is that you can make them searchable. So if you are with a client, it's really quick for you to find what you're looking for. um, if you don't know exactly what you're looking for, you can also filter them here, and you can also filter them by, for example, related location is Australia. So you can get to them from the specific kind of location screen, but you can also get to any related materials from in here. Now, if we move across, we also have knowledge and tips. And so this is just a section for employees to kind of share anything that they find in terms of resources that might be useful for other employees to know. So, for example, you can share things like podcasts, you can share things like books. This is something that everyone that has the app can add to. So everyone will be able to see this little plus button here. If I click on it, it will take me to a screen where I can add in new material. This is also one of the more social screens in the app. So instead of the other sections, which are more kind of just browsing and getting information, I can actually interact with this one. So I can like things, I can bookmark items I want to come back to. I can also comment to kind of start an active discussion. And if we quickly move ahead, one of the really kind of powerful things in this feature is our admin section. So I am now already logged in as one of our app admins, which means that I get to see this extra little option at the bottom of my, what we call the hamburger menu. Now, when I have this option of admin here, I get to see a few additional options, which just means that directly from within the app, I can manage my document library, I can manage all of the people data, I can manage the case studies and the company news. And so you'll recognize these sections as the four sections that are basically making up the drop-down areas in the detailed views. And so what this means is that anytime you can just use the app to upload whatever relevant new documentation that you have. So if for Australia there's some new news coming out, instead of you having to go through a really troublesome kind of process, you can actually just open up your app, come in here, and add it directly in here. As long as you tag it with, if we scroll down, it should have our locations. As long as your item is tagged with Australia, it will automatically appear in your Australia screen. And I think generally that's all that we have time for today. As you can see, there's still quite a few sections and screens left in the app. So I would encourage all of you guys to go in and take a look at it if you want to learn more. But I think at this point, we'll open it up to questions.
Okay, yeah, I think we don't have much time here, but one quick question on service details. There's this a button specifically for Twitter. Can you use other social media there?
Yeah, absolutely. So all of these buttons are just examples. So the whole point is really, you can remove these if you don't think that they're valuable for a business, and if you wanted to use something else, let's say LinkedIn, for example, then you could definitely do that. So that link could take you to LinkedIn instead of Twitter. It's just an example, and it's pretty easy to just kind of switch out URLs and update these little buttons. Similarly, the whole kind of point is, let's say you've got 20 services, maybe some of them have a Twitter link, some of them don't. On the screens that doesn't have Twitter, you can just delete it, and that's okay, and you can add it back in at a later point if you needed to as well. So it's definitely meant to be kind of customized on that level.